welcome back to this channel, to this tutorial. My name is Okunamu George. I am a data scientist, a machine learning engineer. So today I'll be taking us on Python fundamentals as a beginner from scratch to finish. Alright, so in this channel I teach data science, machine learning and data analysis and Python as well. So in this course today we are going to look at the fundamentals of Python as a programming language. Now, so what is Python? Python is a programming language, just like we have C#, C++, JavaScript, Java, PHP, and the rest of them. So Python is one of the most widely used programming language in the world today. It's based on its simplicity and is versatile. You can use Python for machine learning, data science, data analysis. You can use Python for web development using framework like Django, Flask, and Anvil, and the rest of them. And Python, why I choose Python personally, because of its wide range of community, and there are tons of libraries for almost everything you want to work on as far as Python, machine learning, data scientist, software development, data science, and data engineer is concerned. So Python is a widely used programming language in the world as of today. Alright, so you can do your research. You can go to Google and Google the most widely used programming language in the world. Okay, so without any further ado, let's dive into the table of contents. If you have been following me in my courses, I break it down to content, all right, to table of contents, so that I'll be teaching you step by step. So without further ado, let's go to my PPS. All right, like I said, our table of content for today is that the first thing we're going to look at, we are looking at the basic Python syntax. What is syntax? Syntax are rules that are governing any programming language. The syntax for Python is very different from the syntax of JavaScript. So every programming language has their own syntax. Syntax simply means the rules of Python. There are some certain rules that are governing in Python that is not applicable to JavaScript. So you need to understand the basic concept or syntax of every programming language you are learning. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at is variables and data types. Under that, we're going to look at what is variable, declaring variables, arithmetic operations, if statement, loops in Python, functions, lists, dictionaries, and as well as comments. All right, so let's go to the next one, which is what is variable. So in Python, a variable is like a container that holds our data. It has a name, and you can use it to store, update, and retrieve values during the execution of your program. So variables make your code reusable and easier to do or to manage. So just look at yourself, like visualize yourself using you have a box that contains tools. Let's say you're a carpenter, you have saw, you have hammer, you have nails, and every other tools that you need as a carpenter. So that container, that box that carries every of your tools, is what we call a variable in Python. So a variable in Python is a container that holds your data. That is what holds your data. You can use one variable that can hold multiple data contained in that variable. Okay, so without any further let's go ahead and look at how we are going. First of all, how we can install Python in our computer. So just go to your Google and type download Python. All right, you click enter. The first code, you can also visit the official website python.org. You go ahead and click on the first link. Alright, so this is the official website or link for Python. You go here to download, or you come here as when I'm making this video. The latest version for this Python is Python 3.13.1. Go ahead and click on download. You see it here. It's going to open up for you to download here. Let's wait. I already have Python is downloaded in my machine, so I'm not going to download anymore. So once you finish downloading, it is very simple. The installation process is very simple. All right, all you need to do is just follow the instructions and install the package. It's very easy for you to navigate through. So the second thing we are going to do, we are going to select our text editor. You can use Java, you can use Visual Studio, you can use Jupyter Notebook, you can use PyCharm, whichever, but for me I'm using VS Code. Just go download VS Code. All right, you click on enter. Now this is the VS Code. Just go ahead and click on that first link. It will take you here. Now depending on the kind of machine you are using, for me I'm using Windows. Okay, so you can go here, see it for Windows 10 and Windows 11. All you do is just to click on download. Okay, it's going to say thanks for downloading. It started downloading here. So for me, I already have it. I'm not going to download anymore. So all this I'm doing, I'm showing you the how you can download and install your Python and also your VS Code. But if you want me to show you step by step on how for you to download and install your Python, put in the comment section, show me how to download and install Python, and I will do a separate video for you to do or download and install your video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead. Now after you must have downloaded and installed your Python, okay, you go to your computer to the window level and type CMD. It stands for command prompt. All right, we are going to check if our Python have been successfully installed in our machine. What you need to do is say Python -- version and click enter. Okay, it's showing this command does not Python. All right, sorry, let's go ahead and do this. Let's say Python. All right, so if you just click on Python and enter, it's going to show you the version of your Python. Like me, I'm using Python 3.12.3. That is the version I am using. All right, so that is the version of my Python. Just go ahead and type Python and enter. But in some computer, once you do Python -- version, it's going to also give you as that. So whichever way that works for you, you can go ahead and do that. So for us to test our program if it's working, I can just go ahead and type print hello world. All right, so to see if it's working. All right, so I'll be able to execute my first code using Python by printing hello world on my terminal, okay, on my command prompt, and it's giving me as hello world. So this is how you can also know that your Python has been successfully installed. So the next thing we need to do, peradventure, it shows you like this. Like, let me use this one. All right, you have something like Python version is not recognized as an internal or external command. All right, so what you need to do, don't panic. All right, after you have successfully downloaded and installed your Python, all you need to do, come here to your window and type Python. All right, don't click, just right click and go to open file location. All right, it's going to take you here. This is Python 3.12, okay, 64-bit. Just go ahead and right click it as well. All right, and open file location. It's going to take you here. Now just come up here, click here and copy this /program files Python 13. Copy it, come down here and do env. All right, click enter. Come here to where you have environment variables, click on it. Now come to where you have path. All right, click on it and come to edit, come to new, and you can now paste in what you have there. All right, but for me, I already have it here. All right, I already have it here, but I can still go ahead and remove this. All right, I can go ahead and still paste it here. Once you are done with that, go ahead and click on OK. Come back to where you have your where you have this, okay. Come back to your Python. All right, come back here to where you have this. Now come to where you have scripts. All right, double click, open it. Now go here and also copy what you have here, this script. Go back to where you have this, come back to this part and edit, come to new and paste that script, the package, all right, the directory. Click on OK. All right, click on OK, and here click on OK as well. So you have been able to successfully added your Python and the script to your internal machine. Can now come and test it again and say hyphen version and type. Okay, for you it's going to show you, but for me, based on the size of my machine, all right, so it's giving me as just Python based on my own settings. So if you find this video useful, please do well to hit on that subscribe button, like button, and let YouTube show this video to as many persons that are interested in learning Python. All right, so let's go ahead and create. I want to go ahead and create a folder for this tutorial. All right, so what I need to do now is to say cd, that is change directory. I want to change my directory to desktop. All right, so I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to make a folder known as Python underscore tutorial and enter. I'm going to navigate to where I have that Python underscore tutorial and enter. Okay, so I'm going ahead to open this with my VS Code. All right, just wait a bit. It's going to launch this on my VS Code. So we have been able to successfully launch our folder. All right, here we are going to open and say, okay, we make a folder known as app.py. Please, I want you to understand this. If you are working with JavaScript, you say app.js. All right, but for Python, the extension for whatever thing you are doing, the extension should end with py. So py is the extension for Python. So whatever folder you're making, you're going to add the extension should be .py. That py stands for Python. So that VS Code is supporting. But if you are using PyCharm, you don't need to add the extension because PyCharm is basically for just Python. Okay, it's the code editor for just Python. But if you are using VS Code like me, it supports other programming languages, so you need to add the file extension as py. All right, you go ahead and click on enter. So we'll be able to open our app.py folder, all right, and a workable environment. So let's go ahead and test our Python. If it's working, we need to go ahead and print our first programming language, our first code using Python. Let's say print. All right, so print, you must put single quote or double quote, whichever one. You say, okay, hello world. All right, go ahead and run it. All right, so we have been able to successfully run our first code using Python. Hello world. All right, this is what we call a terminal. All right, it's going to give us the output here where we are having this. All right, so this is the beauty of Python. All right, so let's go back to our table of content. Okay, so the next thing we are going to install. So now what is variable? I just finished explaining variables. So the next thing we're going to do is to look at how to declare variables. So in Python, we have basically 4 types of variables or data. All right, 4 types of variables. We have strings, we have integer, we have float, and we have boolean. All right, so string, as you see a name, this name becomes our variable, and Alice becomes what is inside that is contained in this name. Okay, Like we said that a variable in Python is like a container that holds our data. So this name is a variable. Alice is what is a data that is contained in this name variable, and this name variable, this Alice, is a string. All right, what makes this a string is because of the quotes, either single or double quote. I want you to understand this. What makes a data type or a variable a string is because it contains text, and it is being how will I put it? It is being surrounded with quotes, either single or double quotes. If you look at this Alice, it is surrounded by single quotes, by double quotes rather. That is what makes this variable a string. If you look at the next one, we have H. H is a variable and 25 is a data. So H is a variable that is housing our data 25, and it's an integer. So any number from 0 to 10 or 0 to 9 in Python, it is called an integer. All right, and even most programming language like JavaScript, because I've used JavaScript, so integer and number from 0 to 9. All right, so now we have float. Float is any number that contains a decimal point. All right, we say height equals to 5.7 is a float. Now boolean is anything that has to do with true or false, yes or no. All right, so it's a boolean. So anything that's contain the answer, the outcome is either true or false in most cases, and in some cases to yes or no. It is what? A boolean. All right, so these are the 4 types of variables in Python that we have. So every code we are going to be writing from now henceforth is going to follow this syntax, this order. I told us that we are looking at the basic syntax of Python. Now everything we are writing, every code, whether we are doing software development, machine learning, we are doing data analysis, whatever we are doing, we are going to follow this rule, this syntax. All right, the float, the string, the integer, and the boolean, we are going to follow, is going to follow this. Otherwise my Python will not understand what we are doing. So for you to be on the safer side, this is the first thing we need to understand as a Python programmers. All right, we need to understand the data types. All right, so that when you're working, you should be able to do what? To understand your data type. And there are sometimes we need to cast our data. All right, we can convert strings to float, you can convert strings to integer. That will be in our future video or course. All right, but for today I want us to understand this basic syntax or concept in Python. So without any further ado, let's go to our code and begin to execute. Let's go ahead and begin to execute some code. All right, so I want us to look at strings. A variable is a container that contains our data. All right, so we have 4 types of variables or 4 types of data types in Python. We have the string, we have the boolean, the integer, and the float. Let's go ahead and begin to declare some variables. Let's say name equals to, you must surround it with single or double quote. This is how single quotes look like. All right, and this is how double quotes as well look like. So whichever one is workable, but the rule is that if you are starting with single quotes, please ensure you continue with single quotes. If you are using double quotes, ensure you follow the command. All right, but there are cases that you can convert, you can change from single quotes to double quotes based. I will show us that as a bonus later in this course. All right, so let's say I want to a name. My name is George, so I want to, let's say George. All right, so this George now is a data, and this name is a variable, or I can change it to first fn, meaning let's say first name. All right, so let's say, let me do my first name Okunamet. All right, so this fn is a variable and this Okunamet is a data. So this data is contained in this variable fn. So if I want to print my Okunamet, I'm not going to call it directly. I need to call my fn. Let's say I say print. Please, in Python we say print. Okay, all right. So in JavaScript there is a name. It is console or something. All right. So then in PHP they all have their own way of printing, executing their code. All right. But for Python we use print. Python is very simple. Okay, it's just like normal English language that we speak. So all you need to do is just understand the rule, the syntax of Python, and you are good to go. You can build any project of your choice. Then surround it with double this open and close bracket, and you don't need to put your single or double quotes here because you want to call this fn. All right, so whatever data that is contained in this fn is going to print out for us. Okay, let's go ahead and print our fn. Come here, you see this play button, say run Python file, you click on it. All right, so when you see, look at our terminal, okay, is you see here we have okunamat. I don't need to go ahead and call this okunamat. All right, all I need to do is to call the variable, because this okunamat is contained in our variable known as fn. That is our first name. All right, so in cases where you can have multiple items or data in one variable, let's me a quick one. Let's say fruits. This is a list now. All right, when we get there I'm going to show you. All right, okay, don't worry, let me just do something. I want to show you that you can have multiple data in one variable. Let's say apple, let's say mango, let's say oranges, let's say guava. I hope I spelled rightly. All right, so now we have 1 2 3 4 items, 4 data in one variable known as fruit. Now I don't need to go and begin to call apple, mango when I'm printing. All I need to do is to call the variable fruit, and every data that is contained in that fruit is going to appear for us. Let's go ahead and execute it. I want to call my fruits. All right, so if I go ahead and execute this, it's going to give us everything. You know, we have now apple, mango, oranges, and what, and guava. All right, so this is the beauty of it. I think I need to convert this to Jupyter notebook so that it can be, we can have a good view. All right, so let's go ahead and rename this. Instead of using pi, let me use ipynb. All right. So please, 1 minute. I want us to be seeing the outcome instead of looking at terminal. Let's just go ahead and be looking at. Okay, let's say print hello world. Sorry. Print hello world. Okay, it's connecting now to our kernel. All right, so just wait a bit. This is Jupyter Notebook by concept. You know, in our subsequent videos or tutorial, I'm going to show you how to convert your VS Code into Jupyter Notebook. All right, but if you want to go through, and how to install Jupyter Notebook in your system, how to start working with Jupyter Notebook. But for now, because I want us to be having this output, all right, this output instead of looking at terminal. Okay. All right, this is what I want. All right, so that's good. All right, so the next thing we are going to do now is that let's go ahead with our tutorial. All right, so let's go ahead and say, okay, fn equals to, please, this equals to, there's something I want you to understand. This equal sign is not our normal mathematical equal sign that equals to. This is just what we call the operand. Okay, it's an operator, okay, that is telling us that this fn is equals to that every data, whatever we are having here after this fn is something that is contained in this variable. So we call it an operand. Okay, it's not the normal equals to give us, it's not the mathematical aspect of it, but we'll get to that arithmetic part of it in this same course. All right, so let's say first name, we are going to say okunamat. All right, so let's go ahead and say, all right, last name equals to, let's say George. All right, now if I go ahead now to print I can print my fn. I can as well print my ln. All right. If I go ahead and execute this, you are going to have it here, Okunama George. All right. So I printed the both of them. But what if I don't want to print this to be in a single line? Okay, I can concatenate this together. I can say print, all right, fn, all right. I can give this, all right, plus. Don't worry, you get to understand this very soon. Plus ln. Okay, I was supposed to put this. Alright, so let's just do it this way. Alright, plus. Alright, so, but I need to put alright, so what's happening? Invalid syntax. Look at what we are saying, invalid syntax. It therefore means we are not following the rule of Python. I can remove this and it's not going to leave us. Plus, if I remove this and print this, it's going to give me what I want is space here. Alright, so this is it. Alright, so we have been able to print these two variables in one, now giving us Okunama George instead of Okunama George in separate lines. So this is what we call concatenating. So for now, don't pay attention to this. I'm just showing you different ways how you can convert do yours. Okay, this is what we call a string. Alright, so this is what we call a string. Alright, this is a string. This is a string data type. Now let's go ahead and look at another. We have the next one we have here. We have integer. All right. So let's go ahead and look at integer. We say integer and numbers are within the range of 0 to 9. Now if I say h equals to 25, and I go ahead and print my h variable. All right, so if I have here 25, so this is an integer. All right, so every number that contains 0 to 9, a digit is called 0 from 0 to 9 is called an integer. All right, so don't forget that, an integer. So let's go ahead and look at another of our variable type, which is called float. All right, we say float are numbers that have decimal point. All right, you can go ahead and say height equals to 5.2. all right, so this point is what makes it what an integer. All right, sorry, a float. All right, float are numbers that contain decimal point. You can say this is what float. All right, so let's go ahead and print our height. Now you're going to have it here as 5.2. This is a float. This is our string. Whatever contains whatever contains quotes, all right, or any text, anything that contains text and it is surrounded with double quotes or single quotes is a string, and whatever contains a number from within the range of 0 to 9 is an integer, and whatever contains decimal point, anything that contains decimal point is a float. So let's look at boolean. You say is underscore student, all right, equals to, is either, we say that the student is not correct. Student, what am I spelling? Now whatever contains true or false is a boolean. All right, we can set this to true. Please, you true, the first letter should be capital letter. If you are using false, the F should be a capital letter. Now this is what we call a boolean. Boolean. All right, let's go ahead now and print whatever our is. Sorry, is student. This is what I love VS Code. It auto completes everything for you. All right, so for beginners, I advise you to use VS Code because it auto complete sentences or your code for you. All right, so we have been able to look at the 4 types of data types in Python. We have the string, we have the integer, we have the float, we also have the boolean. All right, so these are the examples of data types or declaring variables. So the next thing we're going to look at now is arithmetic operations. All right, now like I said, in arithmetic operations we can perform mathematical operations in Python. You know, you can use Python to do almost anything you want to do. All right, you can use Python for mathematical operation. You can build a program, an app, a software about mathematics. So Python supports mathematical operations. So we are going to look at some simple arithmetic operations in Python. All right, so we say that we declared a variable some result. We put it equals to, all right, 5 plus 3 is an addition. Now let's just copy this and go to our VS Code so that we can see how it works in our VS Code. All right, you can just paste it here. Now we are saying that some result, this is a variable, some result of 5 plus 3, this is an addition. All right, now difference is equals to 5 minus 3, this is subtraction. Now the product 5 times 3, you can also the product of 5 and 3 is saying what is the multiplication. Multiply 5 by 3 is multiplication. Now division, you can divide 5 by 2 is a division. Then the modulus is remainder, and you say 5, this percentage is in Python, in arithmetic, it is what? A module. All right, you can go ahead and execute this. All right, so it means our code is working. Let's go ahead and print each of these. Okay, you say print some result. I'm going to copy it. There are how many? 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. One more. So we are going to differences. All right, we are going to also as well to print our product. This is why I love VS Codes. I keep saying it auto complete for you. Let's say division, and the last one is our remainder. So if I go ahead now and print this, now you see that 5 plus 3 as an addition is 8. 5 minus 3 as subtraction is 2. 5 times 3 as a product of or multiplication, 5 multiplied by 3 is what? Is 15. Now division, 5 minus 2 or divided by 2 rather is 2.5. Now remainder of 5, remainder 2. You say 5 divided by 2, all right, as a remainder is going to give us what? As 1. So this is how you can also use arithmetic operations with Python, and it's going to give you perfectly well. So let's go ahead and look at our next, which is an if statement. Okay, an if statement in Python is a conditional statement that allows you to execute a block of code based on whether a condition is true or false. It is fundamental for controlling the flow of your program. Now we say that it is a conditional statement that allows you to execute a block of code based on whether the condition is true or false. All right, so let's go ahead now and do something. All right, let's declare h equals to 18. Remember, this is what? This is an integer. Now we want to build a program that says that if an individual age is 18 and above, that person is eligible to enter a site. I want us to remember, we want to build a project that says if an individual is up to 18 and above, do this and do that. All right, so now is what we use if statement for, because it is a conditional statement. So how do we go about this? We need to first of all begin to give our variable at what age we want to use to execute. All right, so and what is the variable? The variable is age 18. All right, so what we need to do now is this. All right, so let's go ahead and say if, because if statement is a conditional statement. You say if age is greater or equals to 18. All right, you must put this this semicolon or call it. All right, you enter. And please, another thing you need to understand is the indentation. You know, VS Code automatically indents your code according to how it ought to be. This is one of the beauty of VS Code and every other code editors. All right, so if you see that it's not starting at the beginning, it has to indent. Some indentation is 3 lines, 1, let's say 2, 3, some 4. All right, depending on how it has been set from the beginning. All right, so now it has indented. This is what we call indentation. There are spaces behind. If I take this backward, it's going to give me an error until I take it to where it ought to be. Now I'm going to say print. You must put your single or double quotes. You are eligible. All right, you go ahead and print this. Now why 18, you are eligible. All right, so why is it giving us you are eligible? Because we have here as 18, and we are saying if this variable age is greater than or is equals to 18, print you are eligible. And it has given us you are eligible because it has met the condition. What if I go ahead and reduce this to 15 and I still print this? You see, the code is not wrong, but it's not printing you are eligible because it does not meet the requirement of this. So this one is above our variable we have given. But if I reduce this to, let's say 15, and I go ahead and execute this, it's going to write it because it met the criteria. There is something else we can also do. All right, let's go back to our default age 18. All right, so let's go back to default age. If you print it, it's giving us. All right, now there's what we call an if and else statement. If this does not meet, or let's say we turn it to like 15. All right, now we go ahead and execute this. It's showing nothing. All right, but let's go ahead and say else. All right, print you are not eligible. If I go ahead and execute this code, you are not eligible. Why? Because this one does not meet the criteria. Let me use this as 18 and let me use it as 15 and let's print you are eligible. Okay, because it's all right. So let's say 18 and say it's equals to 15. All right, so you see it said you are not eligible because our variable says you must be 18 years and the age of this person here is saying is 15 years, so this person is not eligible. That is why the second block of codes has to execute. Now codes in Python, it begins to execute from top down to bottom. All right, so it does not execute from bottom to top, it executes from top to bottom. So it's going to look at this line of code. The first one says that age ought to be 18 years, but in our if statement it says this person is 15 years. So and it went through and said if this person is up to 18 years, print you are eligible, and the code does not, this one does not meet up the demand of this, but the second code it met the demand, so you have to print the second. That's why we now have you are not eligible. There's another thing we call it elif. All right, elif, okay, elif is, it will tell us, okay, you say elif, all right, elif h equals to, or let's assume is greater than or equals to 18. All right, now I say print you sorry, I want us to have our code, let our code be modernized. All right, so let's do this in the next line. Let's comment this. Let's come here and say a variable is h equals to 18, and we say if h variable is greater than or equals to 18, what do you want to do? Say okay, print you are eligible. Okay, now you now say okay, elif h is equals to, all right, so this has to come here, h equals to 15. all right, you say print you are too young to enter. All right, else if these two conditions are not met, you say else print enter your age. All right, so if I go ahead and execute this, you say you are eligible, because why? The first one, age equals to a greater than or equals to 18, you say you are eligible. All right, but if the age is 15, all right, so it has the first one met the criteria, it has to execute, but the second one and the third one did not meet criteria, so it has to execute the first one. Now what if we now have to choose this one to 15? Let's say this one we put it as 100. Let's just try something. Now you see, say enter your age. Now it looked through the first one. This 100 did not meet this 18. It looked through the second one, 15 years, it does not meet 18. It has to execute the last one, say enter your age. All right, so because 100 is not what we executed, this is not what our command is. Our command is this person must be 18 years, but the first person said age, or his age is 100, so he said enter your age. He has to execute the third one because none of this met the criteria. So this is how you can use an if statement to do what? To run your code. All right, so I hope you understand what if statement, elif and else statement is all about. Please, if you are finding value for this tutorial, please do well to hit that like button. Let's beat YouTube algorithm. And if you are seeing this as a course, please do well to send your feedback that you're enjoying this course, and also share this course to your loved ones. Okay, so let's go back to our table of content. The next thing we need to look at now is loops in Python. What are loops? A loop in Python is a control structure that allows you to execute a block of code repeatedly, either for a specified number of times or until a certain condition is met. Now there are two main types of loops in Python, which are, we have for loop and while loop. Now the first one is for loop. The for loop iterates over a sequence like a list, tuple, string, or a range, while the second one, while loop continues to execute as long as a given condition is true. So let's go ahead and look at the first one, which is the for loop. We say that a loop in Python control structure allows you to execute a block of code repeatedly, either for a specific number of times or until a certain condition is met. All right, so let's go ahead and we're looking at the first one, for loop. All right, let's say for I in range of 5, you're going to say print whatever I is. All right, now if I go ahead and run this, it's going to print. Now, there's another thing I want you to understand. You know, as we go ahead, we go further, I will begin to give you secrets. All right. Now, in Python and every other programming language, the index of every programming or of every data, it begins with 0. So we are saying for I, you can give it whatever name. You can say for I, for J, for number. All right. It's not just say, you can say for num. Now I'm playing whatever num is, but in convention we use I for I. All right. You can still go ahead and execute. It's going to give us the same. All right. We are saying that we have a range of items of number from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we want you to print this for us. So what for loop does is that it iterates over, like if we go back to our course, we say for loop iterates over a sequence like a list, a tuple, a string, or a range. Now what we are working now is with the range. All right, that's why I state for I or for num in range 5, print num. So it's going to print from 0. This is the index. It begins with 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, please, I want you to take notes on that. It begins with 0, 1, 2, 3 to 5. So don't be surprised if you see 0. But if you don't want to see this 0, you can come here and say +1. All right, I pray this works. Okay, it has incremented it to not here. You can say +1 here. Let's see. All right, if you don't want to see that 0, 1, 2, 3, just come here where you are printing num or I. Let me just change it to I. I is basically most times used. All right, so now we'll go ahead and print it again. So now when you put +1, it means don't begin the index from 0. Begin from 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the range of 5. But if I remove this +1, it's going to give us from 0 to 4. Now this 0 is 1, 2, 1 is 2, 3 is 3, 3 is 4, and 4 is 5. So it completes our 5 range. So this is what we call a for loop. It iterates over a tuple, a list, or a range. Let me go ahead and do another thing, a list. Okay, let's say I want to look at the list of fruits. All right, you must use this how do they call this, we have open and close brackets, curly braces. I'll remember, but just look at the symbol what I use. Okay, use it. Let's say mango, oranges, let's say apple, and the last one we're going to look at is let's say pineapple. All right, so we can now go ahead and iterate over this list. Now for loop will help us to iterate over each of these. You can say for fruits, in fruits. All right, now you put this and say print. Come on, print our fruits. Print fruits. All right, so as you can see here, as you can see, now it iterates over this list. This is what we call a list in Python. All right, now I'll show you how to look at types of your data set. All right, now it starts from the beginning: mango, oranges, apple, pineapple. Now if you look at what we have here, we see that the for loop iterates over a sequence like a list, tuple, string, or a range. We have looked at the range. We have looked at now a list. Let's go ahead and look at a tuple. All right, so how to look at it in a tuple. But let us first of all go ahead and print the type of this. For in Python you can say print type of what? Fruits. You go ahead and execute it. It's giving you as a class is what? A list. Now if you go ahead to up, all right, and come here again, all right, let's just put something here and say print type of fn. You see, it's going to give us as a string. All right, this is how you can go ahead and check the type of data set or data you are working with. This is a string, and this is what is giving us as what, as a string. So let's also go ahead and look at this h. All right, so this is something you need to be very careful, you need to understand. All right, if you say print, what's wrong with you, print type of h, what is going to give us is going to give us as an int. This is an integer. All right, now let's go ahead and print this height of a thing, height. Okay, say print type of, the type of height is going to give us as what, as a float. It's a float. So you now understand why I say this is a float, a boolean. So it's not just, I'm not making up, because Python is giving us here as well. Let's as well go and say print the type of is student is going to give us as what, as a boolean. So this is how you can go ahead and check the type of data you're working with. All right, so here is a list. All right, so let's go ahead and look at how to work with tuple. You can say student equals to, this is a tuple. This is a tuple. All right, you can say George, comma, Alice, comma, Victoria. Now you can now go ahead and look through this. Say for stu, or you can say for I in student. All right, you say print whatever I is. So it's going to print all these students for us. So this is a tuple. When you use open and close brackets and insert data inside of it, it's a tuple. But when you use this, I've forgotten how they call this, is a list. All right, and this is a range. When we use it as a range, all right, so we have been able, excuse me, to look at how to use a range, a tuple, a list, now a string. All right, you can as well use string to do what. Now let's go ahead and print the type of these students. You see, it's a tuple. You can say print type of, let's say student. Let's see what it's going to give us, a tuple. All right, so this is how you can check the data type. All right, so we are progressing. Now let's look at how to use a string. All right, you can say name equals to George, sorry, there must be, okay, George, oh, Konamit. Now you can say for name, for NA in name, all right, print whatever NA is, and it's going to print this. All right, so it has iterated over this list, so it's giving us based on alphabetical orders. All right, so G E O R G A and space O K U N. So this is how you can use for loop for. Okay, we say that the for loop iterates over a sequence like a list, tuple, string, or a range, which we have been able to do that. Now let's go to the next one, which is while loop. You say the while loop continues to execute as long as a given condition is true. Now while loop, it continues to execute until the condition is if the condition continues, it begins, or it continues to do what? To execute. All right, so you can say count is a count equals to 5. All right, I can say while true. All right, can just say print count. Let's see. All right, so have you seen it? So it is going continuously until I need to do what? To break out. All right, so now let's continue. All right, now let's go ahead and do another. All right, let's say I use the variable count as equals to 0, and I want to still do my while loop. All right, I can say while count is less than 5. All right, now what we need, I say sorry about that, count rather is less than 5. We can say print our count. Now for you not to have this issue of it counting going without stop, all right, you need to come and say count, all right, plus equals 1, all right, plus equals 1. You go ahead and do what, and run your code. It's going to give us just this 5. Now when we say count is equals to 0, so while count is less than 5, print count but increment it by 1. So it's now going to give us this, but the former one we had, it was giving us without stop. All right, so but that was not good enough for us. So this is how you can control your while loop while working. All right, so you can as well change this to less than 5 and go ahead and execute it as well. It's not going to give, because this one is 0 and you're saying less above 5, so it's not something it can work. But if you go ahead and say something less than 5, it's going to work for you. So this is how while loop works. Okay, there's something I needed to show you. All right, so please bear with me. Now for this, let's go back to our if statement. All right, so there's other types of loop. For this our loop. Now in this loop we have different types of loop. All right, so there's a way we have break statement, we have continuous statement, and we also have pass statement. Let's go ahead and do example. Let's look at the first one. Let's say break statement. You say for I in range of 5. All right, now we say it if I equals to, all right, equals to 2. What do you want to do? You say continue. Okay, you want to say break. All right, then you say print whatever our I is. Now let's go ahead and execute this. Now please listen. Now it's saying for I in a range of 5, if I equals to 2, break and print I. Now what we are saying is that if we don't want to execute this 5, if we execute just 2, if this loop execute 2, just 2 numbers or 2 times, break, don't execute anymore. That's why we have 0 and 1. We're supposed to have 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Supposed to be 5. All right, but since we said if it is equals to 2, if it run twice, break out of that loop. That's why we're now having 1, 2 as execute 0, 1. It has to break out. This is, we have to do what, to break it, to terminate our code prematurely. It did not get to 5, it broke at 2. Now the second one we have is we have a continuous statement. You can also as well say for I in the range of 5. All right, so let's go ahead and say if. Now you can use if statement with anything. All right, you can use if statement with while loop, you can use if statement with for loop. If statement I can use for loop with if statement. So all you need to know is just to understand the kind of programming you are programming, what you are the kind of app you are building, so that you can know which one to use. Okay, now you say if our I is equals to 2, all right, we say continue. All right, now you now say print whatever I is. This is what we call a continue word statement in for loop. Now what this is saying is that for I in range 5, if I equals to 2, continue. Now if we say don't execute 2. If you look at it, say 0, 1, 3, 4. Once it gets to 2, skip. In continue is skip the current iteration. You said if it gets to 2, don't count 2, skip, continue and print the rest. Now it counts 0, 1, it gets to 2, it had to skip and start from 3 and 4. This is what we call, this one is what we call continue statement. This is what we call the break statement. So let's go ahead and look at the last one, the pass statement. You can also say for I in range of 5. You say if I equals to 2 as well, you say what? Pass. Now you go ahead and say print whatever I is. Now let's go ahead and run this. Now what this is saying is that, now if you look at here, it said if it gets to 2, pass. Now we have 2, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My indentation should be the problem. Let's see. Alright, so this is how it works. Alright, now my indentation. So now you need to also check your indentation. What I'm saying is that once it gets to 2, just 2 alone. Once you just get to 2, just execute 2 and pass. Don't execute any other thing. So just pass. Just execute the only 2. This is the only one we want you to execute, just these 2. And go ahead and don't execute. Let me go ahead and put it as a markdown. This is what we call pass in loop. Alright, so here is what we have as continue loop. This is what we have as break loop. Alright, so this is what we call this while loop. Alright, so let's go ahead now and look at our content. We are done with loop. Now let's go ahead and look at functions, and the last one we are going to look at is list and comment. So let's look at function. I will not dwell much on this function. Okay, I will not dwell much on this function. Let me just give us as an example. Let's say function in Python. Alright, so a function, as what we have here in our, say a function in Python is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. Now this is example of it. Let's just copy it and go to our to our VS Code. What are you doing? Sorry. Let's go ahead and run this. Hello Alice. So let's go ahead and do another example. Let's say you say define. This is define, and let's say you want to do kind of, the variable is let's say name, let's say person. Alright, and you put a parameter, say name. Alright, you now say you return. Okay, return, what are you returning? You can say you are returning, let's use an F string. You are returning hello, this curly braces. You use name. Alright, you come out and you print and say person. You call this variable person. Alright, and the person is, let's say, Okon, and you go ahead and execute. You say hello Okon. Alright, so basically this is how we can use what do we have it, functions in Python. So the next one is a list. All right, so I showed us an example of a list, but I did not put it in depth. We said that a list in Python is a collection of items ordered and changeably and allows duplicate. We said a Python list is a collection of items ordered and changeable and allows duplicate. Let's go ahead and look at a few examples of a list. All right, so let's go ahead and do a markdown. Say list. Let's say I have, let's see, fruits equals to, you say mango, apple, oranges. I don't even know if all these are fruits. And you say pineapple. All right, so let's execute. Now you can go ahead and print whatever. Sorry. Let's go ahead and print whatever our fruit is. All right. So if I go ahead and print this, it's giving us as a list. So if I go and say print the type of fruits, it's going to give us type. It's going to give us as what? As a list. All right. So now, but if I want to access just one, I want to access the first fruit. All I need to do, I say print. All right, fruits. Now you do this and say this and say 0. Remember I said that every index in Python begins with 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Now if I go ahead and execute this, it's going to give me as mango. If I go ahead and change to 1, all right, it's going to give me what? Apple. If I go ahead and change to 2, it's going to give me what? Oranges. So this is how you can identify. And as well, like we said, you can change it, you can edit it. Let's say you want to add. If you have this list of fruits, you don't have let's say pawpaw, or how can we add without changing this variable? That is where we now say append. We say fruits, all right, dot append. Append means add to that list. Okay, that is what we have here. You said fruit dot append. You add what? Orange. Let's go ahead and add what we call, let's add pawpaw. I don't know if pawpaw is a fruit. Okay, now let's go ahead and print our fruits now. All right, after appending, now we now have pawpaw as the last. So this is how you can work with lists, and you can also what? Call individual lists. If I want to say, okay, I want to see only the pawpaw, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can say, okay, print fruits, and I need the food item of it. It's going to give me pawpaw. So this is how you can work with lists in Python. All right, the next thing you need to look at now is dictionaries. A dictionary in Python is a collection of key value pairs where each key is a unique and values can be accessed using the keys. Example, let's say we want to do something. You can use as a data equals to, all right, this is dictionary, this is curly braces. Now you want to say name, all right, you can say name. You go out and do this, all right. This name becomes a key, and what you want to put here is a value. You now say name, say George, all right. Now you can come down and say age, all right. Age, you now say is what? You can say 25. Now you go ahead and run it. Now you can go and say and print whatever your data is, and it's going to give us as this name George, age 25. All right, so this is how you can work with let's copy this. You can work with lists. All right, and if you are doing data science, data analysis, you are going to work with this very lot. So this is going to be variable a person. I will say name Alice, age 25, city. Now let's go ahead and begin and print whatever we have here. Let's go ahead and print. Now we went ahead and look at only the name. all right. But let's go ahead and print the person, all right, and print this variable, all right. So we are going to have it as the name, Alice, age, all right. So this is how you can work with dictionary. We can also do something as student score. Let's say student underscore score equals to, we do this and say name, or say names equals to, we have, let's say Alice. You can do multiple, you can say George, George. Sorry, I'm wondering why I'm having this error. Okay, sorry. You can use a list. Sorry, you can do a list. All right. Now say list. You want to put multiple, so you don't just go ahead and pass in different names. Okay, you do a list. You can say Alice. Now you can use a list in a dictionary. You can use tuple in dictionary. So you need to understand this programming language very well. It's very simple, just like English language. So I'm using a list inside a dictionary. You can say Okon. Now you can now say, you can now come back here. You can put comma here and say H. Sorry, H. What we need now is a list. The first person is 25, 20. We have 3 and 30. All right. So if we go ahead now and execute this, cannot assign to expression here. Let's see. Name. Let's see. Let's see. Names. Alice. Cannot assign to expression here. Maybe you meant equals to instead of. Sorry, let's go ahead and let's do something. Alright, so cannot assign to expression George, Alice, George, Okon, comma. Alright, so don't worry, I'll come back to this. Okay, I'll come back to it. Let's go ahead and equals to. Okay, student underscore score rather. Alright, so let me have our. Alright, so let's change it, student underscore score, and alright, so ish 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, let's see each. Alright, no problem, we'll come back to this, but basically before we end this course, I'm going to show us how to use a list with that. Alright, so let's go to, I'll come back to that. Let's go to our next comment. Alright, this is the last thing we're going to do before I say thank you. Okay, what is comment? Now we say a comment in Python is a line of text in your code that is ignored during execution and used for documentation explanation. Alright, so if you want to say, let's say I want to execute, let's say name equals to, let's say George. Now this is a comment. If I do hashtag this hash and I say name of a person, if I go ahead and execute, only this judge will execute. This name of a person will not be executed because this is a comment. Why is this a comment? Because of this hashtag. Comments are basically used for what? For documentation purposes, or you are giving guidance or guidelines on how you arrive on your code. Example, we have what I did here, this function in Python. This is a comment. Okay, it's a comment because this will not be printed in our terminal. It only sees, except you have access to this code, you cannot see this, but otherwise you cannot see this. So let's go ahead and execute this piece of code, this one here, and let's go ahead and print our name and execute it. So George is executed, but this hash name of a person is not executed. So this is what a comment is all about. So before we go, I want us to build a very simple program, all right, that will collect users information. All right, we want to do if statement. All right, so that will be in our next tutorial. I'll give you in-depthly, but for now let me just give you a clue, example of what you can do. In our next tutorials, in future tutorials, I'll teach us how to use Python to build project or web app. All right, so let's go ahead and say h equals to input. All right, you say enter your age. All right, so now I can go and say if statement. I say if age is greater or equals to 18. All right, and I say print you are eligible for this job. Now I'll say else print your application is denied. All right, if I go ahead and execute this, what is happening? Why is it taking long to execute? Okay, oh sorry, look at it here on the top. Now I'll say 18. All right, and enter your age. Input not supported between instances of strings and integer. All right, so let's see what the problem is. Let's just remove this, okay, and just go ahead and execute this alone. So 18. Okay, it was able to execute. All right, so it's supposed to age input enter your age. It was supposed to, now it's giving us up here. All right, let's say 15. All right, so it's executing, but let's change this and do it in normal program. All right, so that let me change the file path. All right, let me change it from ipny to normal app.py. Okay, so let's go ahead and do h equals to input enter your age. All right, so if I go and execute this, let's wait and see. All right, see enter your age. I cannot say 18. All right, it has entered. All right, but I want to have a space here. Enter your age. All right, I'm going to do something like this and a space. All right, Let's go ahead and execute it again. Okay, have you seen it has given us a space? I can now say 18 and I enter. Now let's see. We want to do something. We want if statement say if age is greater or equals to 18. Alright, we want to have something. We are building a simple program right now. Alright, we say it print you can enter this site, but else print you cannot enter this site. Let's go ahead and run this program. Alright, so age, my age is, let's say 18. I click enter. What is it telling me? They're not supported between instances of strings and okay. Okay, input, enter your age. So age, we need to typecast it. Input, need to typecast it with this and with this. Okay, so this is where we are having issues. Now this in age is not a string, because if I don't typecast it, now this is what I was saying, that we can typecast, convert a string into what? Into an integer. So we now need to typecast this to integer. So let's go ahead and run this again. Alright, age, our age is 18. Now we say that you can enter this site. Look at it here. Alright, because our age is 18. Now let's go ahead and enter the age 15. Alright, let's say 15. Let's say 15. You say you cannot enter this site. So this is how you can build a simple project using Python. Alright, so in our next course tutorial, I will teach us how to build project using Python. I hope you found good value with this course. Python for beginners from scratch to finish are all what we need in Python. You can go ahead and practice this, and also if you have any question, any contribution, please put in the comment section. Like this video, please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so, and ensure that this video goes viral. Please, if you are looking at this course now as a course, if you are watching as a course, please do well to send your feedback, and ensure to support you in whichever way I can. So let's go back to our table of content. What is the next thing to do? Thank you for taking this course. So I'll see you in our next tutorial. I remain myself, George. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like and also share this video to as many that want to see this video, just like you have gained value in this tutorial. If you are taking this as a course, please do well to send your feedback, and I will give you a bonus. Because if you buy this course, I'm going to give you as a bonus project. I will give you project, how to build project with Python as a bonus. Just send me an email or send me a WhatsApp message. Thank you, and see you in our next tutorial.